Hello,
So,
Robbie. How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good, thanks. I think my colleague John is just trying to join.
okay,
All
nice.
right.
Sorry for delaying a little bit. I hope
Oh,
it was
no,
okay.
no problem. I hope it's
Okay.
going well today.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, we hope so as well. Yeah.
Just so you know, some people here are not so familiar with English, so we might translate a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, nice. So, ja, so, also um das nochmal hier offiziell anzukündigen, quasi, unser nächster Gast oder unsere nächsten Gäste, die kommen aus dem Vereinigten Königreich, und zwar aus UK. Wir haben hier Robbie zu sehen vom Team Steeda UK.
Guten Tag,
Quasi
Steeda Europe.
Steeda Europe, ja, sorry, correct. Ja,
Kleiner
Steeda
UK,
Europe. Als Premiere quasi heute für die deutschsprachige Kundschaft hier oder beziehungsweise Mustang-Fahrerschaft vielmehr. Yeah, Robbie, maybe you want to, should we wait for John or do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I can introduce myself. I think John
Cool.
said he was just doing the testing on the screen and stuff like that. I was just seeing what's happening. He says he's in watcher mode. So.
I see. Okay.
Okay.
If he's in watcher mode, so that means if he is into the room here, he should write on the right side in the chat space some words so we can recognize him.
Okay.
Not you, the other guys.
Yeah.
You are already in.
I think if John is in the viewer mode, he might have heard that. So John, if you hear us, just write something into the text, and we recognize you as you, and then we will invite you to the presenter mode. And I additionally sent you another link that you can use to directly come in here. So yeah, I just sent him an email if he doesn't see the chat, if he doesn't see us. So he just got an email. If he clicks that link, he will come into the presenter mode.
Okay, and while we wait, I can say hello to everyone and just explain that my name is Robbie. I am the director of Steeda Europe. And yeah, we were set up a good few years ago to represent Steeda throughout Europe.
Genau, also wir haben hier Robbie, der Direktor ist von Steeda Europe. Yeah, Robbie, could you tell us where does Steeda come from originally? So you just said you represent Steeda in Europe, so I assume you're also somewhere else in the world, or?
Yes. Well, I mean, for those who don't know, and I would hope in the Mustang community, everyone should know that Steeda is, I would say, one of the big three names between Shelby, Roush, and Steeda. And the main difference is Steeda is a fully privately owned company. Oh, let me turn my lights on. It's getting a bit dark. Whereas Shelby and Roush are sort of part owned by Ford to a certain extent. But Steeda has now got over 30 years of history. And if you look at the links with Steeda and Ford, going back even further, because Dario Orlando, who founded Steeda, his father used to work for Ford and was involved in designing the original Mustang, the 64.5 Mustang. And his grandfather worked for Ford as well, just after Henry Ford started the company.
That's impressive.
A very impressive story.
Interesting. Ich fasse mal kurz zusammen. Also Robbie hat uns gerade erzählt, dass Steeda so zu den Big Three gehört, zu den drei großen Companies, die man so ein bisschen mit Ford verbindet. Hat Shelby als Namen genannt, hat Roush als Namen genannt und eben Steeda. Und es ist so, dass Roush und Shelby gehören teilweise zu Ford, und Steeda ist quasi das letzte noch überbleibende Unternehmen aus dieser Riege, das komplett privat noch ist. Also Ford ist da kein Anteilseigner. Steeda gibt es seit über 30 Jahren, und Dario, der Steeda gegründet hat, dessen Vater hat bei Ford gearbeitet und dessen Großvater hat ebenfalls bei Ford gearbeitet und sogar quasi in der Generation nach Henry Ford in dem Laden bei Ford gearbeitet. very, very interesting and very impressive.
Yeah, it's a very, because when I first met Steeda, I had never heard of them either, because one thing that Steeda doesn't do very well is marketing, but what it does do very well is performance. And when I was introduced to them, one of the taglines when my friend was introducing me to Dario, he said, one of the taglines that they used was more wins, more lap records, more championships than Shelby and Roush and Celine all put together. And I was like, really? I was like, how have I not heard of them? And it's really where performance comes in that Steeda history is made, because like I said, it's 30 years. So Shelby became famous, when the Mustang was born. Carroll Shelby immediately started to work on the Shelbys, and there was the Shelby GT350, in 65, 66, 67. Shelby was doing well. But really after that point, Shelby kind of didn't do anything anymore. And it was only in recent times that the kind of Ford Shelby official, like the GT500s and so on, and the GT350Rs, to reflect back to that, came on. But it was Steeda with the old, like the Fox body and then the Cobra, so the SVTs and the SVTRs and the Cobra Rs. It was Steeda that brought Ford back to winning with the Mustang, because I think we sent you a video to hopefully show in the sort of interval between this session and the Q&A later on. One of the things that was impressive is when the Steeda built Cobra won its first race. That was the first race a Mustang had won in IMSA competition, which is street car racing, like stock car racing, rather than tube frame special race cars. And not only did Steeda win with it for the first time in over a decade, but they lapped everyone in the endurance race, including the second place car. And obviously there was a lot of other Mustangs and so on, but because of the Steeda preparation, it was miles better than everyone else, and it was crushing wins. And it was that performance delivery that made the Steeda name. And we were working hand in hand with Ford. So like I said, even though we're independent from Ford, we have always throughout our history worked very, very closely with Ford.
I see, okay. Also Robbie hat uns gerade erzählt, dass Steeda dass Steeda so ein Statement mal genannt hatte, und das war in dem Moment, als Robbie selber zum ersten Mal von Steeda gehört hat und gesagt hat, ich kenne gar nicht Steeda, warum ist Steeda, wofür ist Steeda bekannt? Und da wurde ihm gesagt, Steeda ist definitiv nicht bekannt für sein Marketing, aber für seine Performance, für seine Leistung. Und das hat ihn sehr vom Hocker gehauen. Und er hat dann gerade noch so ein bisschen Kontext gegeben, wie und warum das zu verstehen ist, und hat erzählt, dass zum Beispiel Shelby jetzt in den letzten Jahren sehr, sehr bekannt und sehr beliebt Ford in Zusammenarbeit mit Ford geworden ist und dazu geführt hat, dass Ford auch auf der Rennstrecke viele Ziele erreicht hat. Aber es eine lange Zeit gab, wo das Ertrag von Steeda war. Also als Beispiel mit dem Fox Body, den wir auch gerade schon bei Team Asch gesehen haben, oder auch der hier bei unserem Sean Schein dabei ist, oder mit einer Cobra. Das waren Fahrzeuge, die von Steeda gemacht wurden, die von Steeda auf die Rennstrecke gebracht wurden und mit denen dann große Erfolge teilweise erzielt wurden. Und ein Beispiel daraus ist, dass es ein Rennen gab, wo ein Steeda Mustang jeden Wagen überrundet hat, inklusive zweiten Platzes. Also das ist schon eine Leistung, würde ich mal sagen. Das hat er gerade so als Geschichte erzählt, die auf jeden Fall, die mir auf jeden Fall im Kopf bleiben wird, wenn es um Steeda geht. Weil mir persönlich, also ich bin auch nicht so im Rennsport drin, hat Steeda bisher auch noch nichts gesagt, aber jetzt definitiv als Team, das jeden überrundet hat. Nice, Robbie. Yeah, I just told them what you just told me about that.
Yeah, and if I'm answering a question and I go
feel
too
free.
long, yeah, but I'm saying maybe if you want to break it down into smaller sections,
Yeah,
make it easier to.
Yeah, I think this was a story with context. So in this case, it was it was good. It was good. Maybe I missed some small things or some details when translating into German, but I think the people get the message, and that's what it's about here.
I mean, and that is the message. You know, the Steeda is about the core message is the quality of the products and the delivery of performance. You know, when people fit parts, their Mustang gets better, you know, and if they seriously want to do things on the track and so on, then great, we can help them. But even if they just want a nice Mustang for the street, you know, Steeda parts deliver, you know. It's and also the other thing that was attractive to me about Steeda when I first met them is they're very Eurocentric, you know, with companies like Roush or Shelby, more Americana, you know, with Shelby especially, you know, with stick-on scoops and power bulges and window louvers and things that don't do anything, but that just make it look more, you know, aggressive. And then they, you know, throw superchargers on. You know, both Roush and Shelby are both famous for just throwing superchargers on and having big power numbers or whatever, but not really doing very much suspension. So they add to this idea of the, you know, the joke in Europe of American cars can't go round corners, you know.
Okay,
but Steeda cars can go round corners, you know, and they don't add scoops and things like that, you know. So
that's nice. And if I got it right, you're basically starting, or you just said that that Steeda is Europe centric, but this is something that you try to market nowadays, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like I said, in the mentality of cars, Steeda is Europe centric, you know, in terms of how they build the car. So it's, you know, like you can have a fully built Steeda car and it will look like a normal Mustang.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Because all the performance is under the skin, you know. So like a BMW M4 looks like a BMW 4 Series. You know, it hasn't got huge wings and scoops and all this sort of stuff, but it handles and drives a lot better. So this is the Steeda idea of performance. And so I think it fits in with the European mentality a lot better. And then, like you said, we also have an actual Eurocentric focus in terms of a business now, in terms of setting up Steeda Europe and addressing parts to Europe and then making specific actions to do things in Europe, which we've spent a long time developing, which we can talk about later too.
Ja, ich erkläre euch das nochmal. Also was Robbie gerade sagte, ist, was Steeda sehr wichtig ist und wo auch Unterschiede gesehen werden zu anderen, zu anderen Unternehmen in dem Bereich, dass Steeda sehr europazentrisch ist und das nicht nur im Sinne des Marktes, im Sinne dessen, dass Europa ein Teilmarkt ist von der Kundschaft, die bedient wird, sondern auch im Sinne der Philosophie. Und was damit gemeint ist, dass Steeda, wenn ein Auto von Steeda umgebaut wurde oder wenn man Steeda-Teile einbaut, dann sieht es von oben so aus wie ein Mustang aus Europa, so wie unsere Mustangs eben aussehen, mit Unterschieden zu den US-Mustangs. Aber wenn man unter die Haube guckt, dann ist das halt volle Steeda-Power und volle Steeda-Performance. Und Robbie sagte auch gerade, dass die zwei wichtigsten Teile eigentlich bei Steeda die Qualität sind, also die Qualität der Teile zum einen und zum anderen die Performance der Teile. Dass das die beiden Value Propositions sind. Das ist so ein verdeutschtes Wort, das man hier, glaube ich, sehr gut nutzen kann. Genau, dass das Faktoren sind, die Steeda sehr, sehr, sehr ausmachen. Genau. And Christian just asked if we could, or if you guys could ask the questions in German or in English, and both works, because if they are in German, I will translate them. And if they are in English, then I will present them in English. So either way, it works. That's so. I guess that was a very, very good introduction. Now, even the people who didn't know Steeda know Steeda or will know Steeda in the future. I'm pretty sure. Could you tell us what brought you personally to the Mustang? Because you just told the history of Steeda is very, very Mustang related in terms of Dario's father and grandfather having worked for Ford. What is your personal story with the Mustang?
Well, my story is through rotary engines. So I'm a car fan, and I bought a Mazda RX-8 a long time ago when they first were launched into Europe in 2003, and I ended up working with a company called Pettit Racing, who are a rotary specialist, also based in Florida, like Steeda, and the owner of Pettit Racing, who's called Cam Worth. He's a ex-racing driver, stroke racing driver. They're never really ex-racing drivers until they die, pretty much. But so he grew up with and raced with Dario, who runs Steeda, and so he introduced me to Dario, and I represented Pettit over here in Europe, just as a small side business side of thing. And then, he suggested I do the same with Steeda. But back then it was still just, S197 era. And there was some Mustangs just imported, grey imports to Europe. But I was like, it's not enough to make it worthwhile. But when Ford announced we will do the global platform Fords, and there will be Mustangs officially in Europe, and there will also be, like European Ford performances like Focus ST and Focus RS and so on in America, then I spoke to Dario and I said, right, now we should do it because now it makes sense. So that was the background of how we met, really, through race drivers. And that's, again, one of the things what we were talking about before, is Steeda isn't marketing its performance. It's because it's run by racing drivers, basically. So, they don't care about marketing. They care about making their own personal cars go faster. So.
Ja. Also Robbie hatte gerade, ich habe die Frage gestellt, wie er selber an das Thema Mustang rangekommen ist, und hat erzählt, dass er schon immer Rennbegeistert war und immer schon motorbegeistert war schon früh oder schon immer eigentlich ein Fan von Wankelmotoren, und hat für andere Unternehmen gearbeitet, die auch im Bereich Fahrzeug unterwegs waren, so nenne ich es jetzt einfach mal, und hat darüber dann bei Rennen den Dario kennengelernt, der Steeda gegründet hat, und kam dann in Kontakt mit ihm, und er hat ihn dann quasi davon überzeugt, hier Steeda in Europa zu vertreten. Und so ist die Geschichte, wie er quasi an Steeda rankam, an den Mustang rankam, also schon immer autobegeistert, und warum er jetzt heute bei uns ist.
Also er ist genauso ein Motorhead wie wir alle.
Genau, so ist es, ja.
I told them you're a motorhead like we all.
Yeah, you have to be to do this.
Yeah, correct.
If you're not, why are you doing it?
Yeah, a Mustang driver is a little bit crazy, and not into.
I mean, I like driving, but I'm a coward when I go on the track. I don't mind doing like time attack and sprint and autocross. That's what I do. But like the idea of racing, like 1 centimeter behind someone else at 100 miles an hour is like, you have to be mad to be doing that.
Thing, yeah.
Yeah, crazy. And nearly all the company owners I know who I work with, they're all racing drivers.
Shortly before, we have had a nice hint from one guy in our chat. You have to accelerate more, then you are ahead everybody else.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, but sometimes they get in the way.
Yeah, it seems so.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah.
Do you think are we still waiting for John, or did he?
I think he's given up. He says he can't get in. He said he's in watcher mode, but he can't join the chat and he can't log in. He said when he tried to go on the link, he said he just got to the audio and video test, but then it wouldn't go any further.
Okay, probably his audio or video didn't work, because normally when it does, then it goes further. But at least he got to the test. That means that he used the right URL.
if he finished the test, there should be a green field. Enter the room. He has to press on it.
Okay.
If yeah, I could quickly call him and we could arrange everything technically if it's okay.
Oh, it's not a big deal. I mean, as long as
Okay.
my connection keeps working, we're okay.
Okay.
You know, so
Cool.
you know, it was
Yeah.
really so he could just observe. And I think if he's in watcher mode, maybe he's seeing stuff.
That's
It would
okay,
have
yeah.
been nice for him to be able to see on the chat and stuff. But you know.
Okay, so in terms of the Mustang, what excites you personally most about it? Like maybe especially in comparison to other cars or the
Yep.
Mustang by itself.
Yep.
Could you elaborate on that?
I've got two feedbacks that my personal, maybe three kind of thing. My personal response to the S550 Mustang, the European Mustang, was one, when I first got it, I was quite disappointed because I was expecting in my head more of a sports car. And it's only when you get it, you realize it isn't a sports car. It's a base. It's a base platform, and it's a Mustang. You can make it into a sports car, but it isn't one. It was, you know, it was a nice place to be, and it's a nice car, and it looks nice, but it is not a sports car. And then to follow on from that, the thing, because obviously I said I have a background in performance enhancements and so on. Let me just shut the door 1 second. The other thing is, with a lot of cars, especially more sports car based cars, you have the law of diminishing returns, which is, you know, maybe you do 2 or 3 mods, you know, you put some lowering springs on it, and then you maybe enhance the roll bars or something, and then it's, you know, handles a bit better, drives a bit better. But then after that, there's not much you can do which makes the car better without you turning it into a race car, you know? So it becomes more uncomfortable or more noisy or, you know, unusable and stuff like that. Whereas the good thing about the Mustang is the more you do, the better it gets, because the basic platform is so basic, you know, like when you drive like a Steeda Q500, which is a Steeda prepared GT, it's not like a better Mustang, it's like a completely different car.
Okay, yeah.
And then my third point about the Mustang, which I think is very important, and I was talking to Ford about it, and it's the thing that maybe surprised me the most, was it's a really enjoyable car. Like I said to them, even when I was driving on the motorway at 50 miles an hour, I was still having fun with the V8 going, blah, 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 and just, it's a nice cockpit and it feels nice and it's a manual, and it's just a fun car for an enthusiast, even going slowly. Whereas a lot of cars, and I'm looking at you, Germany, when you do like the M4 or the RS5s or, you know, things like that, you're driving along going, oh, this is really boring. And then you look at the speedo and you're going 120, you know, so they're incredibly fast cars, but they're really boring. They're not involving at all, you know, and I think the Mustang is a very involving car. It's a, you know, it's a fun car to be in.
Yeah.
We have had sometimes the discussion about, is the Mustang a sports car, yes or not? And then we came to the conclusion it's a GT, it's a Grand Tourer.
No, I don't agree with that.
No?
No.
Okay.
The Mustang is a base, and it's a base for you to make it what you want it to be. And
Okay.
that's what's so great about the Mustang. It's an open door. So, you know, if you're 20 years old and you want to make a car that looks nice and sounds great and, you know, sits on airbags and, you know, has huge wing and scoops and all this sort of stuff, then yeah, great, you do that. If you want to build a sports car and go to the track on it and beat Porsches, yeah, okay, do that. If you want to build a drag car, do that. If you want to just go to the shops in it and have a nice different car with a 5-liter V8, or just go on the back roads with a, you know, or you want a Grand Tourer and you want to go on a motoring holidays or for the weekend, you can do that. But it's a platform And the whole ethos of the Mustang is make it what you want to make it.
Okay, so we have big potential to make it better and better.
Ich fasse noch mal kurz auf Deutsch zusammen. Also ich habe gerade die Frage gestellt, was persönlich begeistert dich oder was begeistert dich persönlich sehr am Mustang? Und da hat Robbie eigentlich eine coole Geschichte erzählt. Und zwar war er erstmal, als er das erste Mal im Mustang saß, ein bisschen enttäuscht, weil er kommt aus dem Bereich Rennen und Rennfahren und hatte mehr ein Sportscar erwartet, mehr so ein Rennauto quasi. Und hat dann aber festgestellt, ich fahre ja gar keinen Sportscar, ich fahre einen Mustang. Ich fahre eine Basis, eine Base hat er es genannt, eine Plattform fahre ich. Und diese Plattform, die kann ich entwickeln. Die kann ich zum Beispiel zu einem Sportscar entwickeln, wenn ich es möchte. Ich kann die aber auch woanders hin entwickeln, und zwar genau dahin, wo ich es möchte. Und ich finde, das ist eine sehr gute Ansichtsweise. Und das ist auch das, was viele, glaube ich, hier feststellen und was viele hier leben, die nämlich ihren Mustang verändern und die ihn genau so verändern, wie sie ihn haben möchten. Und das hat Robbie dann festgestellt, als er einmal wirklich diesen Wagen gefahren ist, dass er da ganz viel draus machen kann. Und er hat dann gerade noch gesagt, the more you do, the better it gets. Also je mehr du machst, je mehr du daran machst, desto besser wird. Vor allem natürlich, was die persönliche Einstellung dazu ist. Also, weil du machst natürlich nur Dinge, die dir selber gefallen. Das heißt, mit jeder Sache, die du machst, wird er ein Stück besser, so wie du ihn haben möchtest. Und als dritten Punkt hat er genannt, was ihnen auch sehr, sehr am Mustang gefällt, ist, dass das ein sehr enjoyable Car ist, also ein Auto, das man sehr, sehr genießen kann. Mit einem Mustang musst du nicht mit 150 über die Autobahn fahren, sondern du kannst auch einfach mit 70 km/h und Blubber-Sound drin sitzen und auf der Landstraße fahren. Also in jeglicher Hinsicht ist der Mustang ein Auto, das einfach nur Spaß macht, und das war so der dritte Punkt, den er gerade genannt hat, warum der Mustang ein tolles Fahrzeug ist. Und ich glaube, da können sich viele wahrscheinlich auch hier sehr stark mit identifizieren. Ja. Interesting story. Very. I think it's a great approach to see it as a base, as a platform, and make it what you want.
I think if you go into it thinking it's a sports car, you're going to be very disappointed.
Probably. Yeah. It's about the thoughts you have when you enter. So if you expect what it is. What it already is, then you won't be disappointed. So if you want to drive a stock Mustang, then you will be happy. But if you expect a sports car, then you might need to do things. Yeah.
And you think of the price. It's a platform. It's a basic platform to enter, and it's a great platform. Ford have delivered a fantastic platform for us. It's naturally aspirated, V8. Rear-wheel drive, manual. How many cars have that for an enthusiast?
Yeah.
And affordable compared to, many of the rivals.
Ja. Robbie hat gerade noch ein paar Punkte genannt, die er sehr am Mustang schätzt. Zum Beispiel, dass er gut bezahlbar ist für uns, verschiedene Punkte eben, ja.
Ja, dass er einen Saugmotor hat, dass er ein V8 ist, dass er Heckantrieb hat, all diese Sachen, die es eigentlich so nicht mehr so oft gibt. Heutzutage sind die Autos dann meistens in Allradantrieb und mit Turbomotor und mit Downsizing und. Diese Dinosaurier, würde ich mal meinen, sind langsam aber sicher am Aussterben. I told them, the dinosaurs, they are dying out. They are gone. And we don't have much. We have a lot of cars with four-wheel drive, and we have turbo compressor motors, turbocharged, whatever. The car is taking over the leadership of the driving for you. You don't drive by yourself, you get drived.
Yeah, and I think a lot of car enthusiasts should welcome the Mustang. I don't think I think maybe especially in Europe. I don't know about the German market. It would be an interesting question for you, but I think because the base Mustang doesn't deliver the goods, and in Europe we don't have GT350s and so on. We just have the GT. Okay, and that is not a sports car, and so I think the natural market where the Mustang can fit in, it's maybe fallen short of it, because if you drive a Steeda Q500, you can compete with an M4. If you're an M4 driver, you can get in a Steeda Q500 and have a great time and think, wow, this is a great car. There's going to be differences and so on, but you'll think this is a sports car, I'm enjoying it, it's great to drive. But if that M4 driver got in a base Mustang, like from the dealer, he'll be like, and so I don't know whether in the German market, maybe you can tell me, is the Mustang maybe getting more penetration, or is it really mainly like American car fans, or are people who drove M4s or RS5s or AMG C63s or something like that, are they going, oh yeah, let's try the Mustang? And
I guess this is more a mixture. We have a lot of people who likes the American cars, especially a Mustang as a V8.
Yeah.
If you look into the statistics, you can see in Germany we have about 75 or more % of GT drivers. That means V8.
Yeah.
And we have less than 25% of EcoBoost drivers. So the legend is a little bit counting, and I guess it's also a little bit rebellion. We have discussions about CO2 and pollution and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They say we don't go the mainframe. We want to separate us a little bit and going to another thing. I don't think we have a lot of people which say, okay, I want a real sports car and buy therefore a Mustang. They will go to BMW, they will go to Audi, and so on. This is not the main focus of the Mustang. The Mustang is more, a thing of living matters.
Mm-hmm.
I want the feeling, I want the impression of a Mustang. We sell a lot of convertibles, so you can see they are looking for a driving mind or spirit, which is normally not anymore here in Germany possible.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have also a lot of people and a lot of customers which are not satisfied, of course, with that base, with a platform like you told it. And they try to, on the one hand, individualize the car, and on the other hand, make it better for the racetrack. Where we know there are some problems. For example, the rear axle has temperature problems. You need additional cooling, whatever. So the same with the gearbox, and also with the motor, with the motor oil. A lot of discussions about that. But the problem is that you have to make it more specific for yourself. It's not something where you get it from the factory. Now it's coming from the production line, and everything is fixed for the racetrack.
Yeah.
Very good. How do you say? Good set. Fine. Well said, Roland. Sorry. Totally missing the words. Nochmal eben, um die Jungs und Mädels hier zuschauen, abzuholen. Also wir haben gerade ein bisschen darüber gesprochen, wie so der Markt in Deutschland aussieht oder in Europa aus unserer Sicht, was die Leute angeht, wie sie den Mustang sehen. Und genau, das haben wir gerade so ein bisschen besprochen aus unserer Sicht. I think Robbie, maybe you could tell us what differentiates you from your competitors. You just told us that you're let's say in comparison to Roush or to what did you say? Shelby, correct? You're a Europe-centric company.
Yeah.
But I guess you probably have
have more than these two as a competitor. Could you tell us something
Yeah.
about your USPs?
Well, I mean, I think the USP is just the fact that Steeda is one only a Ford specialist. You know, so for example, even though we work with IBAC and H&R and K&W, for example, to name some German partner companies that we work with, they're all well-respected, great companies, but all of them will work on 600 different models of cars, whereas the Steeda development team is just going Mustang, F-150, Focus ST, Mustang, Explorer, Mustang, So when we develop, we don't just go, oh yeah, that will fit. Okay, job done. Next car, we go, right, what does it need? Yeah, okay, that fits. How do we make it better? Okay, we've done this one. Now we're going to make it better again the next year. Well, we never stop developing. And we, like I said, the company is also racing drivers, so like Dario, who runs the company, is a racing driver. Glenn, the second in command, is a racing driver. My main contact in the US, who I deal with on a daily basis, is a racing driver. Scott, who runs our factory, is a racing driver. I even, do a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm a racing driver, but I, have won the odd race type thing, So the company, everyone in the company uses the products and develops the products and says, we need to do this, and knows the product. They know the Mustang as well as the products. So the range of Steeda products speaks for itself, So the fact that it's Steeda who developed something like a clutch spring, which just helps you with the clutch action to have drivability. And even though it's sub £20, or sub €20 purchase, some of my customers put it in the top 5 mods they did. They might have spent £5,000 on other mods, but because it makes the car more drivable, they love it. And, only Steeda does that, because that's just down to the minuscule detail of how the car works, how we use it every day to make it better. And I think that's probably, I'd say, the biggest difference, the fact that we are 100% focused on Ford performance. And obviously a good deal of that is on the Mustang.
Cool. Also ich habe gerade Robbie gefragt, was unterscheidet euch von euren Mitbewerbern? Und die Antwort war eine sehr ausführliche und sehr gute, also meiner Meinung nach sehr gute, und zwar Steeda is only Ford, also nur Ford, nur Ford Performance, also nur 100% Ford Performance. Steeda ist nicht so, dass gesagt wird, okay, wir nehmen uns, welche Opportunität kommt da auf uns zu, welcher Hersteller kommt da auf uns zu, okay, ja, wir können da Produkte verkaufen, das machen wir. Nein, sondern rein wirklich Ford-zentriert, also nicht nur Europe-centric, auch Ford-centric. Und das hat er dann an einem Beispiel, er hat noch ein Beispiel genannt, und zwar sagte er, wie bitte?
Die Kupplungsfeder.
Die Kupplungsfeder, genau. Als Beispiel dafür, dass jedes Produkt, und zwar egal in welcher Preisklasse, egal ob es jetzt ein paar tausend Euro sind oder ein paar hundert Euro oder in dem Fall unter 20 Euro, jedes Produkt wurde ganz spezifisch entwickelt für Ford Performance und damit für den Mustang. Das wird nicht dafür entwickelt, dass das auch in andere Autos eingebaut wird, sondern nur für genau die Autos, die ihr fahrt. Und das sieht er als großen Unterschied zur Konkurrenz und als großen Vorteil, wenn man sich etwas von Steeda kauft.
Yeah, and then really, I think the other difference would be, so I would say that's a key thing as a company. And then, as I said, in terms of performance, if you wanted to build, like when we were talking about sports cars, if you wanted to build a Mustang sports car, I could pretty much guarantee you, if you build it with Steeda products, and then you build it with everyone else, the Steeda one will be faster. It's that simple.
That's nice.
I mean, like one of our dealers in the Czech Republic, they do track circuit days. And it was very interesting. They one of the days they took their demo car, which was like a 2016 GT, which is all Steeda suspension and so on. Then they took so it was a 2016 GT, their demo car, all Steeda. They took a 2018, so a facelift car stock, and then they took a GT350 Shelby, and then they had the same driver drive all of them and do lap times. So they set a baseline with the 2018 car. The Shelby, I think, was 0.7 seconds faster a lap than the stock car, and the Steeda equipped demo car was like 2.7 seconds a lap quicker. So it was like 2 seconds a lap quicker than the Shelby GT350. And that's what we kind of expect, because like I said, I could pretty much guarantee you can pick any companies you like, but if you build the car with Steeda stuff, because we know what we're doing when it comes to Mustangs, it's almost guaranteed that car will be faster.
Cool. Robbie hat uns gerade noch mal erzählt, ein zweiter Punkt, der sehr für Steeda spricht, ist, ich zitiere mal, if you build it with Steeda, it will be faster. Also, wenn du es mit Steeda baust, dann wird es schneller sein. Er hat dann ein Beispiel genommen, dass ein Rennfahrer, dass ein Rennfahrer 3 Autos hatte zur Verfügung, und zwar einen Stock GT, einen Shelby und einen von Steeda gemachten Mustang. Und der Shelby, der war 0,7 Sekunden schneller auf die Runde gesehen als der. Wie bitte?
1,7 meine ich.
Oder nein.
0.7.
0.7. Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I didn't understand.
0,7 schneller als der Stock GT, und der Steeda Mustang war 2,7. Is that right? 2.7? 2,7 Sekunden schneller als der Shelby. Und das ist auch etwas, wie gesagt, was er halt aussagt. Wenn du es mit Steeda baust, dann wird es schneller. Fast garantiert.
Yeah. I mean, like our latest technology, we use like a dual rate spring as our latest, the ultimate handling spring. And, no one else uses them. That's race cars use them. And we were like, right, we're going to use them because they're very sensitive to setup. So you need to make sure it's paired with all the right valving. And so we do dual rate, which work with our Pro Action shocks. And we do these dual rates that are specific to the MagnaRide car as well. So, if you've got a MagnaRide 2018 Mustang, put the dual rate springs on it and it'll be a huge improvement in handling. And because it's dual rate, it's still streetable because you've got the softer rate as well. But the technology is real pinnacle technology of race technology.
Also ich verstehe natürlich von dem Technischen nicht so viel jetzt. Ich glaube, das hast du vielleicht jetzt besser verstanden, Roland. Aber ich will es mal so zusammenfassen, dass in allen Teilen Race Technology steckt. Also in allen Teilen steckt irgendwie Erfahrungswerte und auch direkte Technologie, die aus dem Rennbereich kommt. Und deswegen ist genau jedes Teil, was verkauft wird, darauf ausgelegt, den Wagen schneller zu machen. Und deswegen eben auch diese Tagline, Steeda, build with Steeda, it will be faster.
Er hat vor allen Dingen gesagt, die Erfahrung heraus machen sie auch aus den Rennwagen-Technologien. Als Beispiel hat er genannt, die Federn, die im Mustang verbaut sind, und da spielt es auch keine Rolle, ob das jetzt ein Auto ist, ein Full-Facelift oder ein Facelift, auch mit dem MagnaRide kannst du also auch nehmen. Und die speziellen Rennfedern von Steeda nachrüsten. Es wird auf jeden Fall besser. Man kriegt dann für die Straße auch die Version halt nicht ganz so hart wie jetzt wirklich für die Rennen, weil das soll ja kein Rennwagen werden, der über die Strecke hoppelt, sondern etwas Weicheres. Aber sie haben das auch dann drauf wieder abgestimmt auf die Straße, trotzdem mit derselben Technologie, wie sie im Rennen oder im Rennwagen dann verwenden.
Robbie, that sounds great. If someone from Germany wants to order at Steeda, does that work? Do you ship to Germany? And if so, how long do you think it will take to arrive here?
Well, again, it's Eurocentric, so our new website that was launched last year, which is the steeda.eu.com. That is a Euro-based website. It's available in German as well. It supplies direct from our Europe-based warehouse. So with the S550 Mustang, for example, we try and have all the mainstay parts in stock. And I have to say try, because obviously with COVID at the moment, it's causing problems. But, you know, in normal times, we try and have all the main parts in stock. Things like wheels or things like headers, which are specific, and there's lots of different sizes and different cats and D-cats, and so things like that, they can be special orders. Like Whipple superchargers, they're built to order, so we bring them in to an order. But all the main stuff we try and have in the warehouse in Europe. So if someone orders it, if they order it like by lunchtime, it usually dispatches that day, and then maybe it would be 2 days to get to Germany.
Cool, ja.
It depends. So I know, Entschuldigung, wenn ich eben noch mal kurz da reingrätsche. It depends. I know you're at the moment in UK located. We don't know what happens at the end of the year. But I know you do some preventing to lose the connection to the rest of Europe. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
No, well, I we'll see what happens. The UK is being stupid. If they want to commit suicide, then
Steeda will not.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we're Eurocentric, so we'll serve UK, and then if we have to have a warehouse in like mainland Europe as well, if there's tariffs or stuff like that, then we'll do that. You know, you know, it should be seamless, basically. But, you know, we hope it doesn't come to that, because it's such a stupid idea. Like, you know, hopefully it will be avoided.
Okay, that's a political thing. We don't have any influence on that.
No, we just have to wait and see.
Ja. Willst du übersetzen oder soll ich?
Mach gerne du bist ja gerade im Fluss quasi.
Okay, also Steeda UK ist die ursprüngliche Basis. Er hat eine neue Website gelauncht letztes Jahr. Das ist die steeda.eu.com.
Die habe ich auch unten verlinkt. Also wenn ihr unten rechts seht ihr wieder diesen Button, da steht Steeda Europe drauf. Wenn ihr draufklickt, kommt ihr direkt auf die Website von Steeda Europe.
Und die ist also jetzt speziell gemacht worden, auch für den kompletten europäischen Markt. Robbie hat es ja nochmal in den Chat reingeschrieben. Im Moment gibt es keine Probleme mit der Lieferung, ein bisschen von Covid abgesehen, aber normalerweise sollten Bestellungen, die bei Ihnen eingehen, innerhalb von 2 Tagen bei euch sein. Natürlich kann im Moment niemand die politische Situation übersehen, was passiert jetzt mit England, was passiert mit dem Brexit. Sollte es dort Probleme geben und sie ein bisschen vom Festland, vom Handel abgeschnitten werden, dann werden sie sich nächstes Jahr überlegen und planen, auch ein Lager auf dem Festland von Europa aufzumachen, sodass also die Lieferungen von dort aus dann ausgehen werden und dass es zu keinen Unterbrechungen kommt. Sie haben sehr, sehr viel am Lager. Sie haben einen großen Stock im Moment und dann müssen sie es halt teilen und dann wird England von einer Seite aus beliefert und der Rest von Europa vom Festland. Da werden sie also schon Vorsorge tragen, dass die Lieferfähigkeit nicht eingeschränkt wird.
Und was er auch noch gesagt hat, ist nach der Frage nach der Verfügbarkeit der Produkte, dass nahezu alles, was man auf der Webseite sieht, nahezu jedes Produkt ist direkt lieferbar aus dem Lager in UK. Das heißt, das macht nicht noch einen Umweg von den USA nach UK oder so, sondern wird direkt aus UK verschickt und ist dann halt nach ein paar Tagen da. Er sagte außerdem, dass wenn man bis 12 Uhr ungefähr bestellt mittags, dass das am selben Tag noch abgesendet wird und dann entsprechend ein paar Werktage später auch hier in Deutschland ankommt. I think that's a good information for German people here and customers. We had people from Switzerland or
Austria, Spain,
and Spain, and I guess that applies to them as well because it's
we ship all around Europe, and the website is in multiple languages, cool. And as I say, it's based in euro currency as well, so there's no conversions or anything like that, so and of course, because it's all shipped within Europe, you're not dealing with customs, you're not dealing with customs charges or delays. You just see the price and then buy it. And and if you're a business, you can even register your European VAT number, and then you can buy without VAT as well.
That's a good information, because that would have been my next question. So I will answer that to the folks hier. Also es ist so, wenn ihr bei Steeda bestellt, dann zahlt ihr keine Steuern oder sowas, beziehungsweise keine Zollabgaben oder sowas. Ihr zahlt die ganz normale Mehrwertsteuer, die dann eben in UK erhoben wird. Wenn ihr geschäftlich unterwegs seid, also nicht für euch privat bestellt, sondern im geschäftlichen Sinne, dann kriegt ihr das Ganze auch mehrwertsteuerfrei nach dem Schengen-Mehrwertsteuerabkommen. Müsst da dann eben eure Umsatzsteuer-Identifikationsnummer angeben, aber bekommt das auch. Genau.
Alles Business-to-Business-Geschäft ist.
Genau, B2B, ja. Das sollten die Leute wissen, die hier Business betreiben. So the next question would be, you're probably aware of the German TÜV, which is not the best topic for all other parts of the world, because it's very stressful.
We have this problem in UK and other countries also.
Yeah. But of course the details differ a little bit. So could you tell us a little bit about that? So EU conformity and TÜV, whatever.
Yep. Well, currently, it's something we've been working on for a very, very long time, because, as I say, Eurocentric. Steeda is taking Europe very seriously. It is complex. However, we're hoping to have some very big, exciting news later this year about that. Obviously, with TÜV, what you're saying, TÜV is a German certification, and other countries have other laws, because basically in Europe, law works on pre-sale, which is pan-European legislation, and then aftermarket, which is local legislation. So in other words, TÜV addresses aftermarket generally. So one thing we announced is, obviously we work with Velgen, who make the wheels, so Velgen. And we are just going through the process of TÜV certification for the new Velgen VF5, the lightweight wheels for the Mustang. So hopefully they will be fully certified. I think they're already at TÜV being tested. I think they've already done the strength tests. It's just a case of getting the final certificates done and so on. So that's good. And then there's very big Steeda certification news, which I can't really say much about, apart from it's very exciting and will be very important, and hopefully this year as well.
Ja, also wir haben gerade Robbie genau nach dieser Frage befragt, die gerade hier im Chat aufkam, nämlich wie sieht es aus mit TÜV? Und Robbie hat gesagt, dass sie sehr weit in der Entwicklung sind, haben schon mit Felgen, die bestimmt auch einige von uns hier kennen, Erfahrungswerte ausgetauscht und sind, glaube ich, kurz davor, quasi ein ganzheitliches Paket anzubieten und die TÜV-Fragen auch zu regeln.
Ja, also der Robbie ist sich schon der Problematik bewusst, wenn du in Deutschland etwas verkaufen willst, was die Sicherheit, die Fahrwerkstechnik angeht. Jetzt mal abgesehen von irgendwelchen Bushings und so weiter, da braucht man keinen TÜV für. Aber wenn man irgendetwas verkaufen will, angefangen von Felgen bis hin zum Spoiler, muss es entweder ein Gutachten geben oder eine ABE-Genehmigung oder sogar eine EU-E-Nummer. Dann kann man es hier legal eintragen. Sie sind an diesem Punkt am Arbeiten, und für etliche Erzeugnisse wird es das wohl auch in Zukunft geben. Er versprach uns, für Ende des Jahres kommt noch mal eine große Ankündigung dazu. Da wird es dann noch mal eine große Überraschung geben. I told them that you are aware that here in Germany you need some legal papers to put items to the car which are like the felg, like the rims or whatever. Without, you have no chance, you have no legality, and in fact, you have no sales.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I know that for some parts that we do, and the one part that we regard as a must-have for everyone with a Mustang is our IRS base pack, and that doesn't need TÜV certification because it's from my understanding of TÜV, it tends to be more replacement parts that are key components of the vehicle, like springs, roll bars, brakes, shocks, like you said, wheels, things like intakes will all need certification, whereas more things which are like additional or non-replacement or non-system critical parts, like for example the Steeda IRS braces, strut braces, jacking rails, all that stuff is fine without the TÜV certification.
Right, that's true. That's totally normal. And I know, for example, your braces and stuff like that, the bushings, you don't need any certification, and you sell it great here in Germany as well as in other countries in Europe. And we are very thankful for this because they improve the handling of the car very much. I know it. And a lot of users do know it also because you sell it in big amounts, I guess, here in Germany. As well, for example, as the clutch spring, which is also a big sale here in Germany. You're right, it's not very expensive. It's let me say, quite easy to replace. A bit tricky, I know. But it works fine, and a lot of customers are very satisfying with this part. On the other hand, if you start, for example, with the rims, or you start with springs or complete.
I mean, currently, I feel like German customers specifically can benefit from some Steeda products, but for example, what we were discussing before about the dual rate springs, and because of TÜV, they wouldn't want to fit them probably, So hopefully, if we can deliver this certification, they will be able to fit them, and then German customers can benefit from the full Steeda experience. And I think that will be a big change.
Yeah, it's the same in Austria, for example. So there's an agreement. So what is legal in Germany is also legal in Austria. If you have papers for Austria, they are legal in Germany.
Yeah.
If you have German papers, they are also legal in Austria. So sometimes there are only one paper needed for several countries.
Yeah.
And if you have a bigger amount of one item, then you need a so-named E number, which you get an EU certification, and then you can sell it all over the European community, starting in UK at the moment, in Poland or Italy or whatever. So maybe this is a very nice thing, and the customers don't need any additional papers for it. So they
exactly. Well, like I said, it's been our main focus for a long time, but as you can imagine, doing pan-European certification on vehicles is not easy.
I know.
I wish it was.
I know.
But it's not.
we know it exactly, and some parts they do have it, and some parts they don't have. They have. We have also for the TÜV different papers. They are three. You get an ABE, that means Allgemeine Betriebserlaubnis. It's an official paper. Okay, that's allowed. You can mount it on. You don't have to go to a testing center or whatever, or the motor, like you name it in UK. Then you have another paper. There you have to mount it, and then you have to show it to a test person. And he said, "Okay, that's well built. I give you a signature, and that's done with that." Or you get a certification of conformity, so that they say, okay, I can count by myself. This rim can take, let me say, 700 kilos. The Mustang has so much kilos, 700 by 4. That fits all together. Okay, I can do it. Costs a little bit more, but you can go with the certifications to the TÜV. But which gets almost dangerous in the meantime and very difficult. They want to stop this kind of paper of conformity.
Ich fasse nochmal ganz kurz zusammen. Jetzt alles nochmal quasi zu thematisieren, das wäre jetzt ein bisschen lang, aber es ging jetzt gerade nochmal um das Thema TÜV und ABE und nach wie vor da ist die da sehr weit, auch die EU-weite, diese E-Prüfung oder diesen E-Schein da für einzelne Produkte zu bekommen. Also das ist definitiv in der Mache gerade. Maybe you just told, you just got the question in the chat that if there is a discount on your products, and you answered it in the chat. I would take it into the link that I just presented here on the downside. So you say the code is STEDE, like
yeah, clever, eh?
Yeah, that's very clever. And what do the people get from that?
That will give you, well, currently, like I said, one thing we want to emphasize, and if you could tell the customers, I know Roland has already said how effective it is, but we have the IRS base pack and the IRS full pack are currently on a 5% discount on the products themselves. And then the Steed code that I've just given adds 10% more discount. So if they buy the IRS packs, they'll get 15% discount. And then on all the other products in the Mustang collections, 10%. And then obviously we still have the free shipping offer on orders above a certain amount. And the code has a minimum usage of 150 euros plus tax.
Okay.
I see, okay.
Just as a hint, Chris, we have this announcement already with a discount in the board. And people can use it already from there. So there's an offer.
I mean, not everyone who's here is regularly.
And also, it's only for 1 week, this code, because obviously it's the show, so it's like a code discount. So normally, this code will be available 1 week. Normally, we don't do codes. We don't do discounts. We're very much like competitive pricing. And having looked at some prices in Germany of some Steeda products from other dealers, I was frankly shocked how expensive they are from other dealers. Just buying from us is a huge saving. I can't speak for everyone, but I mean, huge saving. I won't say who was selling them, but I saw parts where, our strut tower brace was for sale for 329 euros on a German site, or, buy it from us for 259.
Okay.
The IRS subframe braces were on sale for the same website, 489 euros. We sell it for 299. And we do free shipping to Germany if you order over X amount of stuff. And then that's without the discount codes, if you put the discount codes on. But like I said, normally we price aggressively, so we never do discount codes. What we do have is after the show, we have the code Welcome Steeda, which we use as a one-time use. People can use it for their first order. And then on the website, if you set up an account, you earn loyalty points, which you can then use to translate to discounts later as well.
Also Robbie hat gerade erzählt mit dem Code, den ihr auch hier unten in dem Fenster seht, STEDE, bekommt ihr 10% Rabatt auf das gesamte Sortiment und momentan sind sowieso Produkte im Angebot, IRS-Angebote mit 5% Rabatt.
Da geht es um die hinteren Rahmenverstärkungen. Genau.
Wenn ihr euch diese Produkte kauft, kriegt ihr quasi dann jetzt 15% Rabatt. Und es ist so, dass die da sonst nie Rabattcodes vergibt, weil die Preise schon sehr wettbewerbstauglich angesetzt sind, so hat Robbie es genannt. Und hat sogar erzählt, dass er bei anderen Händlern, die aus Deutschland kommen, Steeda-Produkte gesehen hat, die teilweise fast 100% teurer waren. Also hat er als Beispiel genannt, da war ein Produkt, hat er gesehen, für 499 €. Das wird normalerweise bei Steeda für 299 € verkauft. Und deswegen wäre seine Empfehlung auch, wenn ihr woanders Steeda-Produkte seht, schaut auch direkt bei Steeda vorbei, eben weil sie nach Deutschland versenden, weil ihr auch ab einer bestimmten Summe keine Versandkosten zahlt. die relativ schnell erreicht wird. Und deswegen lohnt es sich auch, einfach direkt bei Steeda zu bestellen oder zumindest mal nachzugucken, ob das Angebot oder beziehungsweise ob das Produkt dort verfügbar ist und ob es günstiger ist. Dieser Code hier, der quasi jetzt auch eine einmalige Sache ist, der gilt eine Woche lang. Das heißt, ihr könnt euch diese Woche noch da die Produkte reinziehen und könnt das diese Woche noch verwenden.
Ich glaube,
und danach
am 7. sagte Robbie.
Bis
Till
zum
the
7.
3rd of July. The code.
Yeah, till Sunday night. It's till next Sunday night.
Okay.
Ja. Also die komplette nächste Woche noch, ja. Cool, thank you for that. So probably people can now spend some money on your products.
Yep. I mean, like I said, I know Roland again has said how effective it is, but I really want to emphasize, we always say it's like the only part we say, just get it for your Mustang, regardless of what you use it for, because the first question we always ask customers when they contact us is, what do you want to do with your Mustang? Because, you know, like we were saying, it's a base platform. So what do you want? And then we can advise them in that direction. But the IRS base pack is the only thing we say, we don't care. We don't care what you want to do with your Mustang. Just fit this. And then we say, fit it. And then afterwards, thank us. Because it's a €200 part and it makes a big difference.
So you say it doesn't matter what you want to do with your Mustang, but do it with Steeda parts.
Well, just do it with the IRS base pack. You know, that's the bit we say is not optional. You know, we say just fit it and thank us. And because when people see what a big difference just a €200 spend will do, they will be like, oh.
Also, diese IRS-Teile sind einfach so die Grundausstattung von jedem Mustang, gehört eigentlich rein wie ein V8-Motor oder überhaupt wie ein Motor und ein Lenkrad. Das ist so das, womit man anfangen sollte, einfach einbauen und hinterher, wenn man sie gefahren hat, werdet ihr alle Danke sagen und das war's.
Maybe you could also share the link directly to that product so that the people here know what we are talking about.
Oh, what, the side markers?
Das ist schon bekannt.
Ist schon bekannt? Okay. Okay. Ja, okay. So Roland soll.
Die Freaks, die wissen, wo sie hin sollen.
Okay, gut, ja. Okay, so no need for that.
I just told that our customers do know what an IRS part is and where they find it, as long as they go to your site and they will know what it is.
Sorry, I'll put a link on that. I think it's on if you just click on Mustang GT or Mustang EcoBoost, it will come up, but I'll put a quick link in anyway. This is just the base pack. And then we say the base pack is for everybody. If you're a driving enthusiast, we recommend the full pack because then that adds the subframe braces, which gives you even better sort of improvement.
Right, but this is for the fast pack because the convertible has already the additional
exactly.
Parts inside.
Yes, exactly. The convertible has a kind of subframe brace already from the factory.
Ja, also in dem Convertible sind die hinteren Verstärkungen schon oder die hintere Verstärkung schon eingebaut. Das ist da serienmäßig. Das heißt also dieser Subframe, der Rahmen, der Hilfsrahmen, das ist nur eine Sache für die Coupés.
Yeah, I think I have one last question, and that's about products. So, are there any? There are two questions. My almost last question is: are you planning on developing new products for the future? So, is there anything in the pipeline?
We like I said, our focus is on Mustang. You know, sometimes customers tell me when we've developed new products.
Okay.
I don't even know, you know, like we're developing all the time. So, you know, I sometimes get a call saying, oh yeah, can I get the new ... And I'm like, what's that? And they're like, oh yeah, I just saw it on Facebook or I just saw it on the Steeda website. I'm like, really? And then I phone up the US and then say, oh, I want this. How much is this new part? And they go, what new part? Because we're making new parts all the time. We never stop. And also, you know, if customers want parts, you know, tell us, you know, because we manufacture them, you know, we're not a reseller. We manufacture the parts and develop the parts. So if there's a demand for something, tell us, you know.
Cool. Also ich habe Robbie gerade gefragt, ob neue Teile in der Pipeline sind, ob da gerade etwas Neues entwickelt wird und er sagte, ja, Permanent. Also Steeda entwickelt permanent neue Produkte. Es ist sogar oft so, dass er selber die neuen Produkte noch nicht kennt, die da in den USA entwickelt werden. Und teilweise die Leute aus den USA sogar noch nicht mal die Produkte kennen, die von Steeda entwickelt werden, weil da so viel Neues kommt und alles Mustang-centric, also Mustang, alles rund um den Mustang. Und es ist sogar so, dass öfters mal Kunden auf Steeda zukommen und nach ganz gezielt neuen Produkten fragen oder neue Ideen für neue Produkte haben. Und er hat gerade gesagt, wenn ihr eigene Ideen habt, dann kommt gerne auf ihn zu oder auf Steeda zu und erzählt Steeda von euren Ideen. Maybe Robbie, you could at this occasion you could tell us how to reach you or whoever from Steeda if there are ideas, if there are questions, if there is anything. How to contact you.
We have a lot of routes. You can phone us. Although, as clear, my German is very bad. I can say hello and entschuldigen. But yeah, so you can phone us if you're happy to speak English. You can email us. You can use the contact form on the site. You can use Instagram on at Steeda UK or on Facebook at Steeda UK. To get onto our channels, to message us on those things. So however you prefer, really. And of course on the forum as well. But we have a lot of channels and not many people in Europe, so be a bit patient, especially if you use a not standard channel. But it's every which way works, and we'll try and get to you as quickly as we can.
And I can tell you something. I have more often tried to reach Robbie by phone, and I'm really happy because it worked all the time.
Also ihr könnt Steeda auf jeden Fall quasi auf jedem Kanal erreichen. Auf der Webseite seht ihr ein Kontaktformular, das könnt ihr verwenden. Ihr seht eine Telefonnummer, die könnt ihr verwenden, wenn ihr Englisch sprecht. Ihr könnt bei Facebook, bei Instagram und jetzt seit neuestem, ich glaube seit 2-3 Tagen auch im Mustang6.de Forum euch an Steeda wenden. Robbie hat da jetzt einen Account und hat auch schon da, wie Roland gerade schon sagte, ein Angebot gepostet. Also da könnt ihr Steeda auch erreichen mit jeglichen Fragen, Ideen, was auch immer.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
No, please, if you want to add up to that, feel free.
Yeah, I was going to say, one thing that we say is like, we regard as well as the fact that we believe Steeda make the best products for the Mustang, and we at Steeda Europe think we deliver them to Europe the most efficiently and at the best price, because a common mistake people in Europe make, not Germany but just across the board in Europe, is they look at the price on our website and then they look at the price on an American website like CJ Pony Parts or Steeda or whoever, and then they go, why are you so expensive? And then you go, well, because that's the price in America. It's the price in Europe. We have to add import duty and 20% tax. I mean, I think what's the tax in Germany is 20% as well, isn't it?
19.
Almost.
Yeah, okay, so 20%, let's call it. And then you have to add 5% import duty, and then you have to fly it across the Atlantic, and then you have to pay the 25% tax on top of that as well. And so, people just see the dollar price, and then they just go dollar to euro, and then they go, oh, you're crazy, you're robbing us. But really, if you actually work it out, it's nearly always cheaper to buy it from us than to import it or to buy it from people in Germany or whoever. So that's one point. And then the second point is, as well as the great products and the great prices, we really believe that advice is also half of our service, because Steeda know Mustangs better than anyone, and we've been doing it for 30 years. So if you want to say, this is what I want to do with my Mustang, how can I do it? What's the best way to do it? Ask us. We're happy to help.
One thing additionally, Robbie was since a long time reachable in the board as Steeda UK. Now we switched his account to Steeda EU. Europe. Okay. He is an official Mustang supplier in the board now, and all the people who have ordered in the last time directly in USA. There's one thing: if we have some problems, we have to talk to Steeda US. So if you buy from Steeda Europe, you have a provider directly beside you, and you can handle all your problems via Robbie.
Also ich fasse noch mal kurz zusammen.
Let's not talk about problems.
there won't be any problems.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's always maybe problems, but yeah, it's a valid point. It's a valid point that Roland makes. You know, if you buy things from America, then you bought things from America, so your support is with America, your returns are with America.
Yesterday, we had another talk here, and it was about the same topic, about prices in the US and in Europe and why it's more expensive here. I will quickly recap it in German, so the people are aware. So, wir haben jetzt gerade darüber gesprochen, dass viele Leute, das Thema hatten wir gestern schon mit Velocity, also wenn Sie die EU-Preise hier sehen, wenn Sie zum Beispiel auf die Steeda-Seite gehen und sich diesen Preis angucken, den mit dem Preis aus den USA vergleichen und dann der Eindruck entsteht, dass das viel, viel zu teuer wäre, wobei das eigentlich nicht so ist, weil wenn man in den USA bestellt, dann kommen dann natürlich noch weitere Kosten auch hinzu, zum Beispiel sehr hohe Versandkosten, zum Beispiel Zoll, also Importzölle zum Beispiel, Einfuhrmehrwertsteuer, Einfuhrumsatzsteuer heißt es, glaube ich, und noch ganz andere Dinge. Und Roland hat dann als weiteren Punkt gesagt, dass das, was auch noch dazu kommt, ist, wenn es mal irgendwie passiert, dass man nicht zufrieden mit einem Teil ist oder dass es irgendwelche Probleme mit der Bestellung, mit der Lieferung, mit sonst irgendwas gibt, dann wäre natürlich auch immer der US-Amerikaner der Ansprechpartner und nicht eben hier die Kontaktperson in Europa, was auch nochmal zu vermehrtem Aufwand führen kann. Und was Robbie auch nochmal gesagt hat, ist, wenn ihr hier bei Steeda Europe bestellt, dann bekommt ihr eine Sache definitiv, wenn ihr sie anfordert, nämlich Advice. Ihr bekommt Unterstützung. Also wenn ihr unsicher seid, ob ein bestimmtes Teil passt, was ihr wenn ihr Ziele habt, wie ihr diese erreichen könnt oder sonst irgendwas, dann bekommt ihr genau diese Unterstützung auch bei Steeda Europe hier, indem ihr eben die Kontaktmöglichkeiten wahrnehmt. I have one last question on the map, let's say, and it is there a project or product you would like to present here? I mean, we presented so many things. I think the IRS product is the one product you would really recommend to the people, if I get it right.
Really. Everything else is depending on what you want. And again, that's where it comes to the advice. If you don't know what you want, ask us. Even if you think you know what you want, ask us, because sometimes you know, a lot of people come.
IRS, this is the platform, you know.
Yeah.
Ja. Also Robbie hat nochmal gesagt, er kann wirklich jedem empfehlen, sich das IRS-Base-Paket zu holen. Und für alles andere könnt ihr gerne fragen. Also egal, ob ihr nicht wisst, was ihr wollt oder was ihr braucht, und auch was das angeht, bekommt ihr Support. Als auch wenn ihr wisst, was ihr braucht, kommt gerne auf Robbie zu, kommt gerne auf das Kontaktformular oder die Kontaktmöglichkeiten zu. Und lasst euch diesen Support einfach geben, weil das Angebot gibt's und das kostet erstmal nichts. Und genau.
Can I ask some questions myself?
Sure.
Let me ask some questions. Right. One thing I would like to ask is superchargers are quite popular over here in the UK. We've got quite a lot of customers with superchargers on their S550s already. So how do Germans put it on with things like TÜV? You know, you can't exactly hide your Whipple supercharger under the bonnet, and when you open it up, go.
Yeah.
You know, like.
So the first thing is, in Germany there is a law when you increase the horsepower for not more than 40%, then it is still covered in the base legalization. If you do now a supercharger on the Mustang, and you have instead of 450 horsepower now 750s, then it's getting very, very difficult, because then you have to do testings.
Right.
That means you get a legalization paper for that, and you have to make tests and stuff like that. I can tell you the prices will be the worth of an own home.
Yeah, I imagine. That's what I wonder. But so I don't understand how people in Germany have fitted them.
Yeah, they do the 40% barrier.
Ah,
so that
okay.
means
if you fitted a Whipple and then you did like a stage 1 Whipple and you didn't tune it and you just said, right, it's 600 horsepower now, so you could say
So 600, that would work because when you have 450 as a base, then you have 180 horsepower additionally, which fits into the 40%.
Yeah. So you could have 630 horsepower technically. But so let's say you've done that.
Yeah, that's
still, you left on it.
Way
still goes, what is that then? So how is that certified? How does, because it's obviously not TÜV certified because it's Whipple. So
it is. Yeah, the question is which parts you use. You need for the parts by itself, if it is a Whipple or something else, you need a certification, but this is not too difficult to get this. The main problems are afterwards the question of the loudness of the motor and the pollution things. So that means you have to make certification about the pollution, how much is CO2, how much is NOx, and so on. And there you have to work with. Other parts are, for example, race catalyzers. They get used by the exhaust partly. Then there are free parts on the market, for example, from HEJS, which have certifications for that, and you can build them in. And you have papers additionally with it. Or you do it in a bigger amount, and then you do your certification by yourself because you have to switch the parts. You have to make the tests about the power. You have to make the tests about the pollution, and they have to make the tests about the loudness. If you are able or willing to pay the 200,000 euros for that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is why I was asking, because with European testing, we can deliver what we're hoping to deliver later on, but dealing with power is now, and it's changed recently as well, because I've been looking at this European testing for a long time. Again, thanks to Volkswagen, it's changed because it's much, much more comprehensive now.
I guess more to Greater.
Yeah, thanks to Dieselgate.
That's the one part, but I guess.
So I was going to say, but if it's something simple like just doing a Steeda intake and a remap, how do they deal with that as a local?
We have some tuners. We just spoke before. We have had you here in the interview with the company Asch Motorsport. Roland Asch was a driver in the German Touring Car Championship, and his son is driving now GT Masters. He has a company, for example, one of several companies which are located in Germany. He has a company which is dealing with motor tuning or car tuning in general. And he is also doing his own mappings on the computer for the motor. So they are this you know what I mean. This parts where you have the motor steering. And they read them out and writing new maps for all these new items. This they are doing by.
Ich glaube, dein Signal ist gerade ein bisschen schlecht. I would say I don't want to really interrupt you, but I think we're a little bit drifting away from the show for the people, and that's basically
sorry. It's just very intriguing to me because I just thought, with all the certification, I was saying, how do people just put a Whipple on and go?
I totally understand. I think this is a very, very important and very complex topic. So I would say, guys, feel free to connect each other and speak about everything in detail. Because I think we still have some points left, and one of them is you brought us some videos, right? One is your intro video. Do you want to explain a little bit about that, and then I will.
The intro video is pretty self-explanatory. It's just a little taster, a bit of excitement. It's only like a minute long, so.
Okay, cool, ja. So, ich zeige euch jetzt ein Intro-Video über Steeda. Also wir haben jetzt ja natürlich schon ganz, ganz viel über Steeda kennengelernt, sage ich jetzt mal. Aber jetzt kriegen wir nochmal visuell ein bisschen was zu sehen. Deswegen zeige ich euch jetzt mal ein kleines Video, das mir der Robbie zur Verfügung gestellt hat. Ich wünsche dabei viel Spaß. By the way, here we should mute ourselves during the video just to make sure that there is no sound interference or something.
Good idea. Okay. How do I do that? Oh, I see at the top. Right. Okay.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Turn audio off.
Wow, impressive. That's great. Yeah, a nice intro video. So it really makes you curious for more.
It was a nice teaser.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So the next little video is more about just a little tour around our main facility, and the idea of the factory. You know, we've got a big 100,000 square foot base up in Georgia, and our company headquarters is in Florida. So you know, this goes to show just how much we do in-house. You know, I mean, that the last video shows how we do the testing on the track, whether it's the drag strip or the road course. And you know, one of Dario's mottos is, if you have a theory, you prove the theory on the track, or you destroy the theory on the track. But until then, it's just a theory.
Cool, okay. Also das nächste Video zeigt das eine Fabrik in den USA oder Ausschnitte daraus und Lagerstätten. Es gibt einen Standort in Florida und einen in Georgia. Und es gibt so eine Aussage von Dario, dem Gründer von Steeda, und die besagt, wenn du eine Theorie hast, dann prüfe sie auf der Rennstrecke. Bis dahin ist es eine Theorie. Und entweder die Theorie wird dann bestätigt oder zerstört. Im Englischen klingt es cooler. like everything else. But that's the German language. Viel Spaß also beim nächsten kurzen Video. We mute ourselves again and have fun with it.
Unlike most other companies, we not only design and engineer our products, but we also manufacture them here in the United States with the most high-tech machines available anywhere. The fit and finish of our parts are key to their overall performance. Every part we design, engineer, and manufacture is installed on one of our test vehicles before it's released into production to ensure ease of installation, and then fully tested to ensure its overall level of performance on the track or the drag strip. With no sales gimmicks or false advertising claims, we deliver on what we promise, all with the focus that speed really does matter to our customers. Our founder, Dario Orlando, would not have it any other way.
That's also a nice video. Genau, wir konnten jetzt so ein bisschen da sehen, dass auch, oder es wird auch so genannt im Video, dass keine Produktion außerhalb stattfindet, sondern wirklich in den USA. Also die Produkte, die Steeda herstellt, werden in den USA hergestellt, nicht irgendwie in China oder sonst wo. Genau. And I guess we have a third video, right?
Yeah, this is a nice little interview. It's like 5-6 minutes long with Dario, who was the founder of Steeda, who we mentioned at the beginning of this meet. And then it's just a nice little video. It talks about the history, talks about himself, talk about his background, and then a lot about the company. It's a very nice little interview.
Cool. Also wir zeigen euch jetzt nochmal ein Interview mit Dario, dem Gründer von Steeda. Ja, geht ein paar Minuten lang und er erzählt euch noch ein bisschen was zum Kontext hinter Steeda und das könnte sehr unterhaltsam werden. Let's mute ourselves again and then I say viel Spaß dabei und bis
Enjoy the video.
Thank you.
I was 14 years old when I started wrenching and racing on cars, and I opened up my first automotive shop at 17, and I started road racing when I was 18, and then I worked with Bob Bondurant and with the Ford team with Mercure doing testing and giving input to the engineers on the Mercure, and then I worked through the years with the Ford Mustang team in the 80s and the 90s and into 2000, making the car better and faster. And we were the first company with the number 20 car for the 95 Cobra R to ever win a production race for Ford in over a decade. And we lapped the entire field 2 times in a 6-hour race, and that's lapping the second place car, which was never ever done in an IMSA Grand Am race ever. And we did it with a 95 Cobra R. And we were proud of that, and people couldn't believe it, but we spent thousands of hours tuning that car and just making it perfect and learning the strategy to accomplish that goal. So the enthusiasm here at Steeda is as strong, if not stronger, now than it was back then in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know the exact year, but my grandfather started with Ford in the early 1900s, and then when my father got out of the Navy, he went to work at Ford, and then he went to the Ford Tech Center, went to school and worked his way up to be one of the top design engineers at Ford. And when I was a young kid in Dearborn, even when I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I just loved the fact, I was so proud that my father worked for Ford Motor Company, and the cars that he would bring home were just unbelievable. And to go to different parts of the facility and the design studio in Dearborn was just fascinating for me, so it always stayed in my blood. And I said, one day I want to work with the OE or the automotive industry, and here we are today. Yeah, well, he was, my dad was instrumental, with the Ford GT program back in the early 60s with Alex Tremulous, and also he did the Alexis, which was one of the concept vehicles that they used when they sent to California for the Batmobile. So he was involved in that with California back then. And then he was instrumental with the interior design appointments of the 64.5 Mustang. So we have Mustang in our blood all the way through. So he was, quite instrumental in a lot of things with Ford that helped Ford's success today. Absolutely.
Chris, wir haben keinen Ton. Kannst du mal gucken?
Oh, ja, sorry.
We have had no sound, so
Ist mir gar nicht auf.
we have had to interrupt the video.
Jetzt geht's.
I was 14
Sorry,
years
didn't
old
notice
when
that me,
I started
I had
wrenching and
some.
racing on cars, and I opened up my first automotive shop at 17, and I started road racing when I was 18, and then I worked, with Bob Bondurant and with the Ford team with Mercure doing testing and giving input to the engineers on the Mercor. And then I worked through the years with the Ford Mustang team in the 80s and the 90s and into 2000, making the car better and faster. And we were the first company with the number 20 car for the 95 Cobra R to ever win a production race for Ford in over a decade. And we lapped the entire field 2 times in a 6-hour race, and that's lapping the second place car, which was never ever done in an IMSA Grand Am race ever. And we did it with a 95 Cobra R. And we were proud of that, and people couldn't believe it, but we spent thousands of hours tuning that car and just making it perfect and learning the strategy to accomplish that goal. So the enthusiasm here at Steeda is as strong, if not stronger, now than it was back then in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know the exact year, but my grandfather started with Ford in the early 1900s, and then when my father got out of the Navy, he went to work at Ford, and then he went to the Ford Tech Center, went to school, and worked his way up to be one of the top design engineers at Ford. And when I was a young kid in Dearborn, even when I was 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, I just loved the fact, I was so proud that my father worked for Ford Motor Company, and the cars that he would bring home were just unbelievable. And to go to different parts of the facility and the design studio in Dearborn was just fascinating for me, so it always stayed in my blood. And I said, one day I want to work with the OE or the automotive industry, and here we are today. Yeah, well, he was, my dad was instrumental, with the Ford GT program back in the early 60s with Alex Tremulous, and also he did the Alexis, which was one of the concept vehicles that they used when they sent to California for the Batmobile. So he was involved in that with California back then. And then he was instrumental with the interior design appointments of the 64.5 Mustang. So we have Mustang in our blood all the way through. So he was, quite instrumental in a lot of things with Ford that helped Ford's success today. Absolutely.
Ich glaube ja fast, das liegt am Film hier.
Ja, ich glaube auch. I think probably
The movie is broken.
the movie is broken. Really uploading it or something, I don't know. I will quickly check if...
Maybe it just went wrong when it was downloading or something.
Yeah, that's
Link in the chat, which is the YouTube of that interview. So if people want to watch it, they can.
Yeah,
put
that's
it on
fine.
there.
So
Give you an idea anyway. Gives you some of the background.
Yeah, I will make it a sticky message here. Also leider ist das Video irgendwie kaputt. Und deswegen hat Robbie hier in den Chat mal den Link geschickt und ich habe den nochmal oben markiert. Also wenn ihr euch das Video nochmal angucken möchtet, und zwar in voller Länge, nicht nur halb, mit Sound, dann zieht euch das gerne rein.
Wir werden es auch hier nochmal mit einbauen und nachher auf der Webseite mit zur Verfügung stellen.
Genau. I mean, until the point we didn't hear anything, it was very, very interesting. So I guess probably some people will watch it. Due to technical reasons, we have 15 minutes left, and we have many questions left. So it doesn't mean that we can't exceed the 15 minutes.
Okay.
But we have to close down this room and get to another room.
Okay. Yeah, I'm happy to keep going. It's enjoyable so far. And if people got questions and so on, happy to.
Yeah, cool. So,
but we can do a quarter of an hour still with answering questions, which we have had in the chat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think we have plenty of questions which are still open, and why not? If you have the time, Robbie, we could.
I'm happy to do it. Yeah, happy to do it.
Cool. So I will quickly.
I have it already open, so I can start if you like.
What do you want to start?
Yeah, I have it open.
No, I mean, I think we should transition to the other room. Just not to get interrupted in 13 minutes, and then we have time, however long we want to. So Ich sage das nochmal hier für die Teilnehmer. Also wir haben aus technischen Gründen nur noch jetzt mittlerweile 13 Minuten Zeit. Aber das heißt nicht, dass wir das Event nicht fortführen können, sondern nur, dass ich euch gleich mal weiterleite und ihr euch noch einmal da neu anmelden müsst. Es ist so, dass das Ganze nämlich auf 4 Stunden begrenzt ist. Das hat aber Bandbreitengründe und mehr nicht. Das heißt, wir würden gleich in eine neue Umgebung wechseln, die aber genauso aussieht wie diese hier. Und werden dann da weitermachen. Also, was ich jetzt mache, ist, ich schicke euch einmal hier den Link zu dem neuen Raum. Guck mal, jetzt müssen wir doch wieder Links tauschen. Schicke ich euch hier rein und ich würde euch bitten, da reinzugehen.
Okay, mir schickst du einen separaten, ne?
Genau. Dir schicke ich einen separaten.
Die braucht einen separaten.
Genau. Da steht einfach hier klicken. Ich bitte euch einmal darauf zu klicken.
Robbie, you get a new link from Christopher for the entrance of the new room.
Correct.
What, is that in private
Yeah,
chat, or is that?
Yeah, you get a
How do
special
I?
because of the fact that you are co-representative.
Okay, where do I see that?
I will quickly send it to you here in private chat, so you can directly click on it.
Okay, how do I see? Oh, I see. I'll just see it on the chat screen, will I?
Yeah, correct. Yes.
Hopefully.
In a second.
Yeah.
And I will collect the questions from here as well, so we don't lose them. So this is the direct room link. And Presenter. Roland, ich habe dir jetzt gerade den Link geschickt.
Okay, sehen zwar noch nicht, aber hier ist er.
Bei WhatsApp. Ja. There's Robbie.
Ich logge mich dann schon mal hier aus und gehe gleich in den neuen dann rein.
Ja.
So, see you in 2 minutes, Robbie.
Okay, where's the link? What
Do you see the link that I just
I've got it
sent?
now. Okay, so what, should I just click on that now and then
Yeah.
see you in the new room?
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that.
So close the old window, please.
Yep.
Okay, ich bin dann auch mal raus. Bis
Jo.
gleich.
Test.